Hey, this is Jody Roundhouse with the Roundhouse Report. Today is April 28th, 2020. We have, we are still under quarantine day 42, day 43. My household has coronavirus. So they say that there's 32 variations of it. So it basically coronavirus equals the flu that we've never been exposed to. We don't have natural antibodies for yet. But at heart, it's the flu, in that we're figuring it out, and it seems to be more contagious than the flu. But then again, the common flu is very contagious. So anyhow, I wanted to briefly throw a video up about how this has devastated China. This has set them back regionally. Their ambitions for, Xi Jinping, the president for life, the dictator for life of the People's Republic of China, the way he handled this coronavirus thing, and then backtrack before this coronavirus thing even happened, their economy was getting battered by the trade war, which is still going on. They were constantly being challenged by the United States and Japan, even Vietnam, the Philippines. It's out, all of our allies in the region, routinely being humiliated. But they were on the rise, certainly. They were certainly they were on the rise. And this coronavirus thing has ground everything to a halt. When you look at China, which I believe has a population of 1.4 billion, the United States has a registered population of about 350 to 400 million, and China is about 1.3, 1.4 billion. So let's just say, 500 million constitute their workforce. Not a lot, so it's probably a lot more than that. But let's just say, for the sake of simplicity, the 500 people constitute their workforce, the people running them, because they have a manufacturing economy. They have the same type of economy the United States had at the beginning of the 20th century, leading into the 1900s, and then ultimately World War I is what really turned us into a manufacturing juggernaut. And that's always been our huge strength in warfare, especially World War II, is our capacity to manufacture. Well, now, flash forward to 2020, and since the advent of the internet in American creation, the American economy has, switched, and the backbone is now like customer service based and tech sector type stuff, intellectual property, those types of things. And the Chinese have the same type of economy that we had at the beginning of the 20th century. They have a manufacturing based economy. So a lot of work here in the United States can be done at home remotely. At China, you need to have bodies in the factories on the assembly lines. Otherwise, that's how your country makes money. In China, that's how they make money. If they didn't have an export industry, they would be a third world country, which they kind of are, actually. Unless you go to a population center like Beijing, they are a third world country, like in the rural areas. But so if you can imagine going weeks, months with tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, if not 500 million workers that are not on those assembly lines working, wow, that is a hit. And again, keep in mind the trade war, and keep in mind that even before the trade war, they had a real estate bubble that economists around the world have been watching since 2012. So, yeah. This whole Chinese, Xi Jinping's, the 21st century is going to be China's century. The Chinese dream will come to fruition. Well, the way that he handled this, the way that he handled this, if he would have been upfront, it's everybody knows the score. They lied, and because of that, it left Asia and went across the world, and a lot of people suffered and died, and the economy is shut down globally because of the decisions that he made. Because being a dictator, the buck stops with him. They went to him, like, how do we handle this? And I'm not going to get in all that crap. You can watch the news for all that. No one's going to know for a number of years, and there'll be lots of books written about it. This is China's Chernobyl. Except worse. Way worse. But, doesn't look too good for them because let's see what's been damaged now. Their domestic economic capacity to export, which is the backbone of their economy, has been devastated. And it's going to take a long time for them not simply to continue to begin making new product. It's going to take a long time for them to fill the orders that they already had that they had to abruptly stop. So even when they're up and running, they're still going to be behind. And we're talking hundreds of millions of people. Granted, they don't get paid a whole lot, but still, their economy, the government, their economy relies on them. So domestic economic output devastated. 2, all eyes are on China. The world already didn't like China. China's known for stealing stuff, not just from the United States, but stealing military technologies from Russia, from Israel, etc. So people already don't like China. People are well aware that China has this, trade imbalance, that they have very predatory trade practices. People already don't like them, and now after this, people freaking hate them. Anybody who gets coronavirus, I would imagine, I already don't like China. Not the Chinese people, the government. Xi Jinping. He's very militaristic. He just want to cause problems. So again, it's late, and this is impromptu, so bear with me. So, okay, boom, boom. Regional ambitions, the South China Sea. All eyes from, I would imagine that all eyes from the Communist Party are on what do we do here to restart our own economy. I don't think. Now they are still, obviously they're ramping up activity in South China Sea. They're using this also, ironically, as a diversionary. So they're doing two things at once, paradoxically. They're using this as a diversionary so they can continue work in the South China Sea. And by the way, as of right now, we have an aircraft carrier strike group transversing the South China Sea, which is unusual because typically we send 1 or 2 guided missile destroyers. An aircraft carrier strike group consists of an aircraft carrier and then 4 or 5 large naval ships, 2 or 3, 4 submarines, and then a couple supply ships. So that's an armada. A strike group is an armada. So yeah, we're hitting back pretty hard right now in the South China Sea as I'm making this video right now. And the Chinese are, if you don't have an economy, you can't continue to modernize. You can't have a proper military. And they're all about modernizing. They've been modernizing. They have the most ambitious missile development program in the world. If you don't have money, you can't keep doing it. Research and development is expensive, and this has crippled their economy. So I would say that this has set China back in terms of global soft power, how other countries view them, because it's a big, big deal here. A lot of countries around the world, especially in the United States, are leaving. They're taking their factories out of China. This is the 3rd or 4th coronavirus that has come through. You had SARS, you had avian flu, and then MARS. All that crap came out of China. Now after this one, a lot of people are like, no, done. This ruined all of our crap. So they're picking up their factories and they're either bringing them back home, whether that be the United States or France or whatever, or they're finding cheaper spots, Mexico, stuff like that. And the United States has now, under Trump's leadership, invested heavily in creating a new industry here in the United States that would make sure that never again will we ever, if something like this were to ever happen again, imagine if a war erupted and we were caught off guard like this. One pundit had brought that up. It's a good point. Trump has initiated a program to build infrastructure, plants, manufacturing plants, stockpiles, and surge capacity so that never again will we be caught off guard. Never again will we have to rely on Turkey, let alone freaking China, to send us basic surgical face masks and ventilators. No. That's the whole reason, a large reason why the tariffs against aluminum and steel exist. We need to have a steel capacity here in the United States because if a war breaks out and you start losing planes and tanks, and let's say you get your steel from a country that has ties with your enemy, what do you do then? So, I mean, there's rationale behind people like, why is Trump trying to rebuild the steel industry? It's a dying industry. Well, people die in war, including tanks. And if you don't have the steel to make tanks, you're going to lose the war. And if your country that you get steel from has any kind of ties with your enemy, China, and for whatever reason they decide to abruptly halt steel to you, you're screwed. So we've already done that. We've already begun that initiative about a year ago with the steel. That's how the tariff started: aluminum and steel. And now we're doing the personal protection equipment, the PPEs. Massive initiative here to put companies onshore in the United States to make PPE equipment en masse so that we're never caught off guard again. And a lot of companies, don't know if Walmart's going to do this, but a lot of companies are picking up and they're leaving China. So again, China's economy, if you do not have an economy, you can't have a military, and you cannot prosecute a war. You just can't. You have to have money. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Went way above what I thought. What is it, 11 minutes? Yep. No one's watching. If you watch this, put a period in the comments. And I'll be like, wow, Mao's watching. Mao. Meow. So, yeah, I have coronavirus apparently, but I'm a carrier, so I had a fever, but other than that, I'm pretty good. Just lots of amino acids, testosterone, glutamine, glycine, Cissus quadrangulus, MSM, taurine, multivitamin, obviously, B complex vitamin, vitamin D, sun exposure, D3, 2,000 international units, and my regular medication rounds. So just trying to bump up the immune system, but at the same time I have stomach problems, so I can't be pounding vitamin C. And my boy believes that vitamin C is like a water pill. He says that Yale says it's so it's got to be so. All right, I'm out. Jody Roundhouse on how China has ruined itself. It's not going to be able to. This is the third time I've signed off. To recap, I'm rambling. I know that. I understand that I'm repeating myself. To recap, China already did not have good soft power. It's now gone. They don't have soft power and they don't have credibility. Governments don't trust. They already didn't trust China. Now they don't seal the final nail. They don't trust China, period. They did a poll. Before, it was 4 out of 10 Americans viewed China as a threat. Now, 9 out of 10. China's soft power has taken a massive hit. China's economic ability has taken a massive hit. And as a direct result, their military capabilities, their modernization efforts, their research and development for their missiles, their anti-ship missiles especially, so important. And then the high-tech things like the atmospheric glide vehicle and things like that us, the United States, and Russia are also developing. Hypersonic glide vehicles. You need money for all that. And China, the credibility issue. Some people are saying this is the end of the regime of the People's Republic of China. What are they called? China. The freaking Communist Party, China. I'm too tired to think about the name. People's Republic, People's China, Communist China's. So people are saying this would be the spell the end of the regime for Xi Jinping. I don't think so. No, their military would have to fracture. And no. Things are too tense with the United States right now. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'll tell you what, the rest of the world's pissed because they're watching their citizens, they're watching their economy. Trump's got to be heartbroken. He took the economy, the U.S. economy, and brought us from below 20,000 to 30. At one point, 30,000, 10,000, tripled it. Within just being in office within a year and a half, tripled it. And then now we've reverted back pretty much to where we started. It's got to be heartbreaking for him because that's his bread and butter, no pun intended. He loves it. That's his thing, him and his people. But hopefully we'll get it back. Hopefully the new sectors will help. And most importantly, China, relatively speaking, within context of the geostrategic, not the humanistic, but the geostrategic level, China's been hurt real bad and they're not going to recover from this. So the threat that they posed has lessened. You can at least say that. 15 minutes. to say that China got hurt by the coronavirus. I'm getting better.